Ahoy, me hearties! 'Tis your skyfaring scallywag, Captain Cloud, setting sail on another tale from the high heavens, where courage rides the rotors and salvation drops from the sky. This be Pirate of the Sky, where we chart the heroic deeds of the United States Coast Guard aviators, the finest souls to ever tame the wind and sea. Today, we follow brave aircrews as they pluck stranded souls from danger, chase down the lawless, and soar into the storm with nothing but grit and turbine thunder. From flood-swollen valleys to the far reach of the Pacific, this be the true saga of guardians in flight. So batten down, shipmates. There be rescue in the air and honor in the sky. Off the stormy waters of Gray's Harbor, 4 fishermen found themselves in a perilous bind, aboard a vessel sinking quicker than a chest of cursed gold tossed overboard. But soaring through the mist came the mighty Jayhawk, blades thundering like a war drum across the waves. Down from the heavens, the crew cast their rescue basket, swinging wild in the wind as the sea snapped below like a hungry beast. Yet these Coast Guard heroes worked with the calm of seasoned pirates, charting a familiar course, guiding each soul into the arms of safety. One by one, the fishermen rose from the furious sea, lifted high out of Neptune's grasp, climbing skyward toward hope. The crew hauled them aboard with precision and grit, never flinching, never faltering, even as the water swallowed the vessel beneath them. With all 4 survivors safe in the cabin, the Jayhawk turned for home, leaving the angry Pacific behind. A flawless rescue wrought by skill, heart, and the unwavering courage of those who guard the seas. Aye, not all heroes fly a black flag. Some fly the red, white, and blue. From braving the bitter winds off Washington's coast to the blazing sun of the Pacific deep, our winged watchmen never rest. Now brace yourselves, mates, as we turn from stormy rescue to the thunder of justice. The hunt be on. Out in the far reaches of the eastern Pacific, a smuggling go-fast tore across the waves, non-compliant, heavy with contraband, and thinking it could outrun fate. But the hunters of Hitron descended from the clouds, eyes sharp as cutlasses and purpose true. The go-fast ignored every warning, splashing spray as it fled. So the aircrew answered with precision fire, striking the engines and bringing the vessel to heel. In moments, the smugglers' escape turned to surrender. Aboard that craft lay a staggering haul, over 20,000 pounds of narcotics, more loot than any single Coast Guard at sea seizure in near 2 decades. A mountain of poison stopped cold by steady aim and iron resolve. Justice claimed the day, and the Pacific grew a little safer, all thanks to the sharp-shooting sky pirates who guard these waters. With smugglers bested and justice served, the call of duty shifts once more. This time to rooftops swallowed by flood and skies heavy with sorrow. Stand fast. There be lives hanging in the balance, and the MH-60 be answering the cry. High over the drenched lands of northwestern Washington, the mighty Jayhawk sailed through storm-soaked skies, answering the call of distress. Below, where roads had vanished and fields had become oceans, the floods rose like a beast awakened, swallowing homes, cutting off families and turning quiet towns into battlegrounds of water and will. The swollen rivers had burst their banks, spilling chaos across Sumas. Roofs became islands, streets became rivers, and atop one flooded home, 2 souls clung to survival, waiting for a miracle to descend from the sky. The aircrew from Air Station Astoria swept in, hovering steady above the surging waters. The Jayhawks' rotors thundered through the mist, pushing back the storm, as if challenging the flood itself. The hoist cable dropped like a lifeline from the heavens, thin as a thread, strong as hope. With precision only years at sea and sky can forge, the flight mechanic guided the rescue device downward. The survivors stood on their roof, stranded but defiant, staring up at the orange guardian that had come for them. The water was lapping at the gutters now, eager to claim its next prize. Down the line, went the rescue basket, swaying in the wind, dancing over the violent chop below. The first survivor stepped in, holding tight as the hoist began its ascent. Up they rose, leaving the flood behind, lifted from danger by steel, courage, and the steady hands of the Coast Guard. Moments later, the second survivor followed, holding fast as the crew reeled him in with the calm and confidence of sailors pulling treasure from the deep. Inside the cabin, warm and safe, the survivors felt the roar of the Jayhawks' engines beneath their feet, the sound of salvation on a day when the world below was all but lost to water. But the mission was not yet complete. With the pair secured, the crew turned toward a nearby landing zone, flying over miles of drowned land where homes, barns, and roads lay hidden beneath the flood's murky veil. Every inch of the journey was a reminder of why the Coast Guard flies: to bring aid where none can reach, to carry souls from peril to safety. Touching down at last, the crew transferred the survivors to awaiting EMS teams, delivering them into the care of those who would finish the work the Jayhawk had begun. And just like that, another chapter was written, a story of bravery born in chaos, of skill sharpened by storm, of heroes who rise to meet the rising waters. For in times of catastrophe, when the sea invades the land and hope feels thin as a mast in a hurricane, there are those who take to the skies, those who steer orange wings through wind and rain, who pluck the stranded from their rooftops, and who refuse to leave any soul to the mercy of the flood. Aye, the rivers may rise, the storms may rage, but as long as these sky-sailing guardians stand ready, the people of these coasts will never face the tide alone. The floodwaters may have receded, but the mission never sleeps. Now we sail east, where a voyage of leisure turns dire. Off Puerto Rico's coast, the MH-60 rides again, this time to lift a soul in need from the decks of a mighty vessel. North of Arecibo, where the turquoise sea stretches wide and the trade winds whisper ancient tales, the call for help rose from a great cruise ship wandering the Caribbean blue. A passenger aboard the mighty Celebrity Apex had taken ill, and time itself was turning against him. From Air Station Brinquen thundered the Jayhawk, slicing through warm island skies like a guardian albatross. The crew descended upon the vessel with skill only years of flying through storms and salt spray can forge. Down swung the rescue basket, dancing above the ship's deck as the waves rolled below like restless giants. With calm hands and steady hearts, the aircrew brought the patient aboard, his wife close behind, refusing to leave her mate's side. The cabin filled with the roar of engines and the promise of hope as the Jayhawk turned toward San Juan. Across the coastline they flew, leaving the wide sea behind as the lights of Puerto Rico shimmered ahead. Upon landing, local EMS stood ready, working shoulder to shoulder with the crew to carry the patient onward to Centro Medico Hospital, where higher care awaited. Another life lifted from peril, another mission carved into the Jayhawks' legacy. Aye, when need calls across the islands, these sky-sailing rescuers answer without hesitation. From the calm seas of the Caribbean to the cold, soaked woods of Washington, the horizon holds no comfort, only the next call. Now we fly into the wild once more, where floodwaters trap the unwary, and the MH-60 answers with blades whirling and hearts steady. High in the rugged reaches of the Suiattle River Valley, where steep cliffs meet roaring waters and the forest grows thick as a bramble, two hunters had set out seeking game, but instead found themselves trapped by the wrath of nature. Days of relentless rain had swelled the rivers beyond their banks, turning trails into torrents and washouts into impassable chasms. Their lone road home had vanished beneath the flood, leaving them marooned with their supplies dwindling to crumbs. But even in the most remote corners of Washington's wildlands, the Jayhawk's shadow can still be seen. From Air Station Astoria, the great Orange Bird launched, its crew bound for a cabin so deep in the mountains that only the ravens knew the way. At last, the cabin came into view, a lonely speck of hope perched above the flooded land. The hunters stepped outside, staring skyward as the Jayhawk roared overhead. The crew brought the aircraft into a hover, steady as a rock despite swirling winds funneling through the valley like angry spirits. Down went the hoist line, shimmering in the cold mountain air. The first hunter approached, gear slung over his shoulder, eyes heavy from long days of waiting. The basket touched down, and with a final glance at the cabin that had sheltered him, he stepped aboard. Up he rose, ascending toward the bright cabin door where the flight mech waited to pull him to safety. Then came the second hunter, clutching the last of their essentials and breathing deep as the hoist lifted him from the mountainside. Below him stretched miles of broken trail and rushing water, reminders of just how close the wilderness had come to claiming them. Inside the Jayhawk, both men settled in, weary but safe at last. The crew turned toward the lowlands, leaving the shrouded valley behind. As they flew, the hunters watched the endless forest pass beneath them. Trees bowed under the weight of rain, rivers churning like molten silver, and the wild Washington landscape stretching on as far as the eye could see. The Jayhawk touched down with purpose, its mission complete, its crew steady as ever. So there you have it, mates. 5 flights, 5 tales of valor, written wind and rotor wash. From storm-lashed seas to the jungle's edge, the guardians of the sky stand ever ready, answering every call with precision, courage, and heart. They be no pirates, these fine souls, but I reckon even the saltiest sea dog among us can tip a hat to their gallantry. Until next time, keep your eyes to the sky and your compass true. This be Captain Cloud, sign-in off from Pirate of the Sky. Fair winds and fly safe.